Hey everyone, Eric Dieterding here. Time to do some skills practice with some vector drawings. Now, this is a fun one for me. I do like drawing vector images in Illustrator a little better, but it's basically the same thing here in Photoshop for our Photoshop class. So let's get right into it. I'm going to use a variety of different shapes. We're going to turn some type into shapes. We're going to go crazy and mess with everybody's paths. Again, with this, it's really to not just use what Photoshop gives you, because it does a really good job of helping you out with custom shapes, cool fonts, tons of different selections, but to make sure yours is different and you just don't go in and draw a shape on your background and just say, like, I don't know, number 1 or something crazy like that. You want to make yours different. So I'm going to get right into it. Don't really have a plan, so bear with me and I'll try not to zone out and not go on forever. But I'm thinking I want to start off with some sort of shape that has a little depth to it. I think I had an idea down at the bottom. I'm going to go with this world shape, and I'm going to make sure I am making a shape as well, not just drawing with pixels for sure. And it'll be a lot easier to change colors and mess with your paths if you make it a shape as well. So I'm going to go in there and fill up my whole page with this here. I'm going to get a nice new layer for my shape. I'm going to go in there and just fill it super generic color. I'm not going to add a stroke. What I want to do right after I get this shape in here, and I know I talked about not just going in and drawing the exact same shape, but what I want to dive into as well is go into my pen tool over here in my tools panel. You should know from the lecture what each one of these do. The freeform has its place, but for me, I'm using a mouse, and that's my attempt at a circle. So you'll see I won't really be using the freeform pen tool right now. I will, however, use the normal pen tool and kind of go in on a new layer here and draw a shape, and I'm going to try to match it up here. So what I want to get, what the point is I want to get across is when you have all these anchor points and these vector graphics, it's really cool because without distorting it, you can go back in and change it a whole bunch of different ways and keep filling it with colors and strokes. So if I start here and click and hold, and I pull some handlebars here, and I go ahead and make my next one here, you'll see I'm starting to make a shape. I'm going to have my handles kind of match a little bit, and I'm going to go right ahead and close the shape off, just like that. Very simple. Fill it in with another super generic color from the swatch panel. What I wanted to show you was, when you're in here, no matter what you get stuck with, if you had your anchor points here, and if you had it flat, if you match your handles, make sure you have a nice symmetrical circle, and I'll hold shift to constrain the straightness there. Alright, a little nitpicky, but pretty cool to make sure you're using the computer for what it's for, making it super easy and symmetrical. So I'm going to take my path tool, I'm going to just lay it over here on top of this guy, and I'm going to go back in, stretch it out. What I found was very easy to get a little better with the pen tool in Illustrator, and it'll work just the same here, is maybe you don't just draw a simple circle shape. Maybe you choose an animal, a star, or something like that. I used to grab images from the internet and practice with the pen tool and just trace. That's really going to get you better at figuring out what handles do what, when you need and don't need handles, where to add new anchor points, which are options here as well, delete anchor points. I think that's very helpful. So what I'm doing here is kind of using this little world guy in the background as something that I can trace, where I can take my handlebars and stretch them out to kind of match that circle shape, and the same idea here, try to line them up with each other on the other side. But maybe that won't work, or it will, but if I wanted to make it a little easier, and to make sure I'm practicing with all of the tools, is I'll add an anchor point here. I'll add one here. So when I click back out of the pen tool and go back to my direct select tool, I'll grab a new anchor, and I'll drag it around here, and I'll drag it around here. So it's not perfect, But to the point of practicing and tracing to get your shapes very well, I'm just going to switch my layer order so that we can see through it and it kind of looks like the Earth. Maybe we've got a global brand here, what we're doing for our logo. I don't know. It's kind of a flat Earth, but we won't talk about that. That's basically using your custom shapes and your pen tool together to create different types of shapes. If I want to go in here and I want to make my logo, maybe I'll just do my initials, something super simple, right? And I don't know what I want to do to it here. I don't know what's going to be applicable or not. But for practice purposes, I'm going to right click on my layer. I'm not going to rasterize it. I'm not going to make a smart object. I'm going to convert it to the shape. And you'll already see all these different anchor points show up. I didn't add them. I didn't draw them with a pen tool. But it might not look cool. But I can go in there. Oops. Just click on one and stretch them out. You know, I don't know what's going to look good. Alright, and I'm in here, and these are all circles. So these circle letters, for me, are not going to work out so well. But you see, I also typed it in one text box. Right? And I separated them when I converted them to the shape. So you might not even want to go too crazy with these. Maybe change the color. But I think that looks like something that we might add into a logo for me. I might line that up a little bit. Maybe nudge it down with my arrow keys. Move it over. I kind of like it. Kind of like it. Maybe not black. Maybe in a darker color though. Like a darker blue. Maybe in red so it stands out a little differently. I like that. Let's go with that. So that's type so far, right? Now we made a shape with the pen tool, and we chose a generic shape from here. And maybe let's talk about what I was saying before, and that if you choose a custom shape and you don't customize it, it's going to look exactly the same as everyone else's. So you can go in here and try to make yours look a little different. You know, what does it mean to you here? What is going to be fun? This is why I think this is fun. It's kind of just like, not doodling, but it's like drawing. It's where you get to be really creative. And you don't have to be the best artist because you are using a bunch of stuff that exists already. And really just making it your own. Which is why I think it's fun. So if I go in there and just kind of make it look a little different, maybe I could have made that with the pencil. Maybe it's not the most perfect shape. Maybe I'll put a stroke on this one too. Kind of looks like it matches, right? Maybe I'll just copy that too, get a second one going. Interesting. So what else can you do with shapes besides change anchor points, right? You should already know from the lectures that you can add effects to them. You can apply multiple effects at once. I don't think drop shadow is going to be anything that's pretty cool in this one. I don't think I want to do a pattern overlay, but maybe you do. Maybe I just want to bevel and emboss it. Let's see what that looks like. Not bad. Give it a little depth, right? I definitely don't think I want these living in front of all of my shapes. I'm going to take both of them, put them in the back. Right. So maybe you don't see all the work I just did, so maybe we'll move them. Maybe I'll copy more. Maybe I'll copy them again. Maybe I'll go crazy, make my own pattern. Maybe I'll copy the one that has the effects as well. So really think about filling up your whole page. I mean, this is a basic design for me. I didn't want to get too creative. I would have zoned out and this video would get much, much longer than it already is. But I just want to make sure that you have the knowledge to change your type into a shape where you can adjust it, whether it's one letter or two or more, and change fonts as well. Add your own anchor points, work on tracing, make sure you're using effects on existing shapes, and changing existing shapes from the super generic spot to one that doesn't look exactly like the cookie cutter version you just clicked into. I don't know what this brand is, I don't know what this logo means. My thumbnail's going to look hilarious when I upload the video, I'm sure. But I like to think this was helpful. If you have any questions, inbox us, and have fun.